everybody hear me fine? All right. This is a fantastic turnout. I want to thank everybody for coming. On behalf of the East County Observer and the Observer Group, I'd like to welcome everybody to the first Lakewood Ranch Incorporation debate. I'm Rod Thompson. I'm the editorial pages editor for the Observer Group, and I will be the moderator for tonight's debate. We are putting on this debate because we believe that this is the most important decision Lakewood Ranch has faced since we opened the East County Observer in 1998. And we hope to do our part as a community newspaper to give residents all the information you require to make up your own minds on whether Lakewood Ranch should become a city or not. The idea of incorporation first surfaced in 2007. The Lakewood Ranch Civic Action Forum's Incorporation Study Committee worked with Florida economist Hank Fishkind to produce a feasibility study. Fishkind concluded incorporation was feasible. Following Fishkind's study, a group of Lakewood Ranch residents formed the Friends of Lakewood Ranch in March 2010 to oppose incorporation efforts. Major points of contention between the two groups include taxes, resident control, and the government structure. Tonight you will be hearing from both sides, and hopefully you will all leave with a better understanding as to how a Lakewood Ranch incorporation would benefit or hurt residents. This will be crucial if the issue goes to a vote one day. So we are pleased to see, looks like better than 300 people here tonight. It shows that there's indeed a great amount of interest in this issue in Lakewood Ranch. So let me introduce the debaters. First, tonight the Incorporation Study Committee will defend the idea of incorporation. They are on my right here, while the Friends on my left of Lakewood Ranch will refute it. The study committee will be represented by Keith Davey and by Tom Tomitis. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one so you know where they're coming from and what their background is. Keith, a Lakewood Ranch resident since 2005, has served as president of both the Lakewood Ranch Community Fund and the Lakewood Ranch Civic Action Forum. He also served as a supervisor for CBD4, as Greenbrook Homeowners Association president and chair of its safety committee. He holds a bachelor's degree in science from the University of Michigan and an MBA from Wayne State University. He spent 30 years at Michigan Consolidated Gas Company. Tom, also a Lakewood Ranch resident since 2005, has no previous involvement in local government. He holds a bachelor's degree in physics and economics from the University of California at Santa Barbara. He has more than 30 years of management and senior executive experience at Fortune 500 financial institutions, including MBNA, MNC Financial, Security Pacific Bank, and Great Western Financial. The Friends of Lakewood Ranch will be represented by Gary Burns and Bob Hendel. Gary is a retired attorney who specialized in real estate and commercial litigation. He served as fire commissioner of Woodmere Fire District for 23 years. He also served on Summerfield Forest National Neighborhood Committee and the Modification Committee. He was a member of the first Serva Resident Controlled Board of Directors and later served as Serva's vice president and president. He also was a CDD1 supervisor. As a volunteer, he served as a firefighter for 35 years and has donated time to AIDS Manitoba, Manatee Memorial Hospital, Lakewood Ranch Medical Center, and Tidewell Hospice. Bob Hendel, a Lakewood Ranch resident for more than 3 years, also is a retired attorney who specialized in commercial law. As a business executive, he was founder and president of a company that developed the first mini-computer shared logic word processing system. As an executive director, he led an international law firm with about 750 lawyers. He has served as president and board members of several, condo and homeowners associations in Connecticut and Utah. So as you can see, all four of these men come with great credentials to be able to defend their point of view on this. Here's the format for tonight's debate. It will begin with an opening statement from both groups. A coin flip was done earlier to determine which group speaks first. Following the opening statements, the groups will field a series of 10 questions written by the Observer. The questions will alternate to each side. On most of the questions, the sides will have 3 minutes to respond to each question, and the opposition will have 2 minutes for rebuttal. There will be a few questions for which we will give each side 3 full minutes. Following the Observer's 10 questions, the sides will field up to 6 questions taken from the audience and readers. These questions will be screened by the Observer, and the answers will follow the same format as the previous questions. The debate will conclude with the closing arguments from both sides. And I believe it was the Friends who won the flip and chose to go first. So they will present their opening statement, and I believe Bob has just something first to say before he gets started on the statement about the mics.
Before I start, as you can see, we're going to have to hold this mic right up to our talking head. We want to apologize for not standing because we've been told to stay seated. And from time to time, we may move this mic and may not be heard as well. So we're going to try to keep it so that all of you can hear. So we apologize for that, and we'll do the best we can, I'm sure, both sides in handling the mic. With that, I will start. I'll start by first saying hi, everyone. And my name is Bob Hendel, and I'm from the Friends of the Lakewood Ranch group. First, we want to thank Michael Lang and the East County Observer for organizing the debate and the polo group for providing this wonderful space. And most importantly, to thank all of you for coming out tonight. Our group, the Friends of Lakewood Ranch, is a volunteer group of concerned citizens who have joined together to oppose incorporation. We hope the debate tonight will inform you on the serious risks and lack of benefits of becoming a city. We want Lakewood Ranch to remain what it is today, a friendly, beautiful, locally governed community served with excellent services. The proposal to incorporate is a risky scheme that jeopardizes the things we have come to know and love in our neighborhoods. Having watched David Letterman top 10 lists for many years, it's now our turn to present you with our top 10 reasons to say no to Lakewood Ranch Incorporation. Number 1, the whole argument to incorporate is based on an unsubstantiated and terminally flawed study. In an almost identical study, a Florida legislative committee stated that it was insufficient. A Florida state senator said it was beyond optimistic, it was unrealistic. The Fishkind study does not provide any rational justification or backup to its expense projections. Only 2 pages are devoted to expense projections out of 44. The expense data is a farce. As they say, garbage in, garbage out. The study is truly worthless. Number 2, loss of local control. Locally elected independent CDD boards are dissolved, gone. Decisions for our neighborhoods will be made by 5 city councilors, only 1 of whom will be from your neighborhood, rather than being made by 5 supervisors who must live in your neighborhood. Number 3, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We love living here, and we see no reason to change it. No community governance is perfect. Ours, like many cities and towns, has its flaws. However, we estimate that 75% of complaints are homeowner association directed, and the HOAs will not be affected by incorporation. They will remain as they are today. Number 4, incorporation will not benefit existing homeowners. If there is any additional revenue generated by a city, none of it can or will go to improving schools, fire protection, or other county services. Number 5, once elected, a new city council can do whatever it wants. They are not bound by the promises made by the incorporators. Once elected, they could vote to do anything they want. Hire staff, raise taxes, award pensions to themselves or as staff. Number 6, no savings on taxes. You will still pay 96% of your Manatee County real estate taxes. The new city will collect the other 4%, thus no tax savings for you, period. Number 7, significant risk that your taxes will increase. If the study's financial projections are wrong by only 5 to 10%, the result will be a budget deficit of between $8 and $30 million. Do we need to take that risk? Fishkind has been consistently wrong in his predictions over the past 5 years. Just Google Fishkind predictions and see the results. Number 8, it's a very bad time to become a city. Just read any paper on almost any day. Cities are raising taxes, laying off workers, some even filing for bankruptcy. Struggling states are cutting aid to cities. Is now the time to form a new city? Number 9, why become a small fish in a big pond? We will become a minority voting bloc in the new city. We will represent only 12% of the new city area and only 34% of projected homes and an even smaller percentage of the population. Number 10, if it doesn't work, there's no going back. We can't go back to CDD governance. 100% of property owners would have to approve. That's an impossible task. In conclusion, we are not against incorporation in general. We are against this city at this time under this charter. Thank you.
Thank you. Each side for their introductory statement gets 5 full minutes. And if Mark, if you could hold up that timesheet that is going down, just keep it holding up, that'd be great for them to see it. Please.
All right, good evening. Can you all hear me? Good evening, everyone. Before I start, I would like to also express my gratitude to the East County Observer for offering to sponsor this debate, and in particular to Michael Ng, who coordinated the event, and to Rob Thompson for agreeing to moderate the event. Also, thanks to you all for coming out tonight. In Julius Caesar, William Shakespeare said, "There is a tide in the affairs of men, which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries, and in such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures." Today, we are at just such a tide, with a tremendous opportunity to shape the future of Lakewood Ranch into a coherent vision and take advantage of the many benefits that flow from the state of Florida to its cities. We have arrived here because about 3 years ago, a group of well-intentioned residents asked a simple question about the community where many of them have committed to live for the rest of their lives. That simple question was, what is the best path for Lakewood Ranch's future? The community was growing and thriving, and the time was right to initiate such a discussion. There were no preconceived notions, only the question. So you look at the options. One choice was to continue on the path of governance that was in place. Would it still be the best option for the future when we would double or triple in size and add several more neighborhoods? An alternative was to see if becoming a city was a good idea. Nothing revolutionary or untested in that, just a reasonable, logical, and practical step in the normal evolution. We would go from a collection of rural neighborhoods into a unified self-governing entity. But was the time right? The fact is, the group studying this possibility knew little or nothing about how it would be done in Florida, or even if it was feasible. So we set out, not hell-bent on incorporation, but merely exploring the advantages, disadvantages, and possibilities of the idea. And that is how we have arrived here this evening. Tonight you are going to hear 2 diametrically opposite views on becoming a city. The fact is, we could not be further apart on this issue. They say becoming a city is risky business. We say it's risky not to move forward. More emphatically, we contend it is not only good business, very good business to become a city, but also that it would be a serious setback to the fortunes and future of Lakewood Ranch if we miss this tide. I would simply ask everyone in the audience, whether your mind is made up or not, to set aside your prejudices and ideologies for the next couple of hours and listen carefully to both sides. We each will present our positions, and you will have to discern the truth and help Lakewood Ranch choose the best path. So please don't merely seek affirmation or confirmation of something you already believe. Seek the truth. But I will tell you unequivocally, and I hope it becomes apparent to you, that only one side of this discussion began with an open mind. Only one side asked qualified and independent experts to gather data and discover and analyze information, and then come back and tell us the truth. Only one side was not afraid of any of the facts. Only one side was ready and willing to abandon its efforts if the independent research came back unsupportive of its position. Only one side has offered again and again to sit down with the opposition and discuss the issues that separate us, only to be rebuffed every time. That side is the pro-city group, which Keith and I are proud to represent tonight. From the beginning, we have provided absolute total transparency. We have inundated you with facts and reasonable conclusions resulting from a preponderance of evidence. We have reshaped our plans based on your input. We are the only side who can honestly say that we began our journey with no prejudice or end goal in mind, only to explore the options and discover the truth of what is best for the community we love. Our proponents have a bit of an advantage over us tonight because they don't have to prove anything. They can kill this idea simply by frightening you into their way of thinking. So our task may be daunting, but we have done our homework. We're ready to provide expert research and several compelling reasons for Lakewood Ranch to begin to take control of its future. Ladies and gentlemen, it is inevitable that someday Lakewood Ranch will be forced by circumstance and common sense to seize its own destiny and become a city. We fervently believe that the process must happen now. The difficulty should be apparent to even the most casual observer. Growing to 30 or 40 or 50,000 residents with dozens of local governments with individual agreements simply does not make sense today or tomorrow. So we are indeed in high tide. We are confident of our direction and committed to making our community even better. If we work together to make this happen, you will be able to say that you took part in building the city of Lakewood Ranch. Thank you.
From here on out, I'd like to ask that there not be clapping after all the questions and answers, so we'll be waiting past 9 o'clock. So just keep ears open and hands apart, maybe. Also, if there are any questions, we have several questions that have been submitted to the East County Observer that we're going to have from readers that we're going to try and get in at the end. If anybody has a really burning question that you want to write down and submit and see if we can get it in tonight, you can submit it to Mike Eng. Please raise your hand, Mike, back there. That's who you'd want to give it to if you have one. So now we're going to move on to the question portion. And these are each going to be, the first three of these are going to be 3 minutes with no rebuttal. And I'm going to start with the anti-group here. It's roughly the same question, and these first three are roughly the same question. That's why they each get 3 minutes and there's no rebuttal. To the anti-group. The entire basis for the proposal to incorporate stands on the feasibility study conducted by Hank Fishkind. Please refute the Fishkind feasibility study.
Good evening. As you've heard, my name is Gary Burns. We're actually refuting the second Fishkind study, not the first one. Please don't ask me what the first one says, because this group that believes in complete transparency has refused to show it to anybody. Now, if you read the Fishkind study, and then you go online to our website and look at the feasibility study that Dr. Fishkind did for Casey Key, and you will see there are peas in a pod. Other than the beginning introduction, which describes the two areas, which are radically different. They have 400 homes, we have 6,000. The mechanism of government, the mechanism of financing, and in many cases, the exact words are found in each. The Fishkind study on Casey Key was submitted to the legislature. State Senator Dietrich, whose district includes Casey Key, said clearly that this study is an exaggeration, it's unsubstantiated, and it seems to come from a template. Just change the names, massage the numbers, and use it time after time. Casey Key spent $70,000 for that survey. One of the committees that Incorporation has to pass is the Legislative Committee on Intergovernmental Relations. They were asked to take a look at the Casey Key study, and in a memo dated March 24, 2009, they said, the